Hi, I'm Kirk. I'm the owner of Barrier Pest Control. This is my brother and business partner, Mike. And welcome to the Barrier Podcast. Really excited you could join us. So we're going to do something kind of fun today. We're going to, I don't know, may or may not be fun. Sometimes a trip down memory lane isn't so fun. But anyway, we're going to go down a memory lane a little bit and talk about the origin or the beginning of Barrier. When Mike and I started and kind of how some funny stories or recollections along the way. So let's get started. So I guess let's briefly give him a little bit of an update, or not an update, give him a brief intro on who you are.
Yep.
Who you are.
So, my name is Mike Dean. I'm the elder brother. And, business partners. Wouldn't want to do it with anybody else. And, anything else?
I don't want to cry this early into this game, but
Yeah.
Anything else? How many kids do you have?
I've got 5 children. My wife, Anakin Skywalker. Dean, is her last name. Just kidding about the Skywalker, okay? But she has a unique name, so that's the only reason why I played that out. And then I've got 5 kids from 15 on down.
That's
to
crazy. She's that old. It doesn't hardly make sense to me.
14.
He's a great father.
14. I'm down to 3. 14
father.
down to 3. So I've got 4 girls and 1 boy. That's funny.
Okay.
I knew that wasn't right.
Yeah. So I'll tell a little bit about. Yeah, I went out. That's the way it goes. So I'll talk a little bit about. I guess let's do this. I'm Kirk. I'm the younger brother, youngest of 8 kids. Mike's the next one, oldest in line. He's 6 years older than I am. We grew up in Grandview, not too far from the Boise area, just about an hour away. Grew up on a farm out there, and so I guess to set the stage a little bit, I had just recently, I was 23, I got married to my wife Ashley, and we were going to school at BYU, and Mike and Anakin came over. I don't know what they were doing. You were doing something. Doesn't make any difference what you were doing. Anyway, you came by to stay in our little crappy apartment on the 3rd floor.
Third floor. Basement, main level.
No, it was a basement, main level, and then like a little. We didn't have to have any heat.
An
tell you that
attic
right
space. An attic space. That's
Yeah.
probably what it was.
I wonder how they got away with doing that.
I'll tell you.
So anyway, you came over.
I know what I was doing. I was selling real estate there for.
Yeah.
Probably in Pocatello.
Well, you were in Pocatello.
And we were on a vacation. Probably went down to St. George. Can't remember exactly what we were doing. On our way back through. Came in late at night, probably 11 or.
You didn't have kids with you, did you?
I didn't have kids. Maybe I had 1 kid. I had 1 kid.
I just don't remember any kids being there with you.
At the time, because they were
young.
Yeah.
I think you did. Doesn't make any difference. I think you went on vacation. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was on vacation. Came up and. This is the strange part. I can't remember the exact memories.
I have almost zero recollection
of me
of particulars.
Coming, and you guys were already in bed or something like that, and I'd wanted to. Anyways, you.
Did you already have it in your mind to talk to me about it?
I can't remember that part, but I do remember coming to visit you, and you made some bread, but you were already in bed, right?
Yeah, something.
You put something in a bread maker, and it would be done by the time I got there.
Yeah.
And I got there.
I was like
and I heard
male Rachel Ray at that point in time. I had some stuff ready to go.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But there's nothing better than hot bread for me.
Yeah.
And so it was done, and I knew it beeped, and I knew it was done, and then my wife wouldn't let me eat it because she thought it's your bread
or something.
No, it's your bread.
Oh.
Like he didn't, and so whereas me, I was like, I'll just have a little bit, But it turns out in the morning,
it was for you,
it was for me, and I just didn't eat it because, and the difference between hot bread and cold bread is a big,
it's like
big difference.
Yeah.
You'd probably throw the loaf out anyway.
Well, the thing about that bread maker, we'd always do it, and like the idea is good. You eat a couple of slices.
Gross.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Okay, but the question is, I had never actually even asked you that. Had you had it in your mind to talk to me about that previously or no? About starting a pest control business? Not really.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. What I had is I'd always wanted to start a business.
So maybe we were just talking about that.
I wanted to be in business. I think I probably had just graduated from college. That's it.
Yeah.
Yes. And so I was moving to
Took
Boise.
took him 10 years.
Yeah.
Good for you. Business management degree
Yeah.
at ISU.
Yep. Kind of a big deal. No. So I just knew I always wanted to be in business, and I had successfully had 2 summers selling pest control. One in Houston, Texas, and another was in Charlotte, North Carolina. And then half of the summer was in
Were
Florida.
you in Florida? Okay.
Half of that summer was in
Why
Florida.
did they ship you over there?
I don't know. The sales team went away. There was only one person there, so they sent me there and somebody else.
Oh, okay.
They sent their all-star.
Oh, yeah.
And
you have to wink with the other eye because the camera couldn't see you there. Yeah.
Anyways, they sent their ace and
and you got it done.
came in.
You sealed
cleaned
the deal.
house.
You sealed
No,
the deal.
No. Anyways, yeah. So I'd sold like 180 accounts. I thought that was a big deal. I made $18,000, and I felt like I was a rich young man. That was sometime in college.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be like
Early
2000
2000s.
and 2001.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
so you were all about we were just talking about it.
Yeah, and I was like, we should do that. Probably, I was like, we should. Yeah, of course I wanted.
My memory is almost seemed like it was like it seems like in retrospect it seems like it was a whimsical thing, but it was like, but it also like we were jazzed about it, dude. Like we were like, think about it. Like
I thought so too. And here's the thing, I was trying to get Dan to do it.
I didn't know that. Dan's our other brother.
Another brother. And I'm not sure how that. I just had it in my mind. I wanted to, and then I was like, we should do this, like almost like not intentionally.
Here's what's kind of crazy in my mind at that moment in time. Like whenever we talked about it and we decided that we were going to do it, like in my mind, this is what's crazy. Like it's just a stupid kid mind or whatever you want to call it. Like naive or whatever. I was like, yeah, this would be fun. Like a couple of years, and I'll get back and go to school. That's just like. Isn't that weird? You have I had no conception of, like, when you start a business, it's either that you go bankrupt, or you stick it through and you end up, making a go of it. There's no half weird measure.
Well, I remember those naive thoughts. I can tell you that much.
Well, here's the question: do you think that you actually start a business without those excited, naive thoughts? I don't think you do. Like, I think that's maybe somebody who's a little bit more because we didn't have any money. Somebody who's a little bit more capitalized can go in with eyes wide open to a business. But I'm saying, like,
that's
people who don't have any money, because I didn't have any money.
That's a good question.
Anyway, it doesn't make any difference.
I don't know. Can't answer that
But
question.
I remember I guess I'll not fast forward. That was one of the things one of my fonder memories. But so we decided to do it. I had to finish my semester at BYU. You were going to go back and sell real estate, and the idea is that we were going to figure it out or whatever. So we came up with the idea of Barrier, which was your idea.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was your idea. So you had some other idea, like Sentinel Pest. I shouldn't maybe say these things. Sentinel, even our discarded ideas are dang good. Anyway, Sentinel Pest Control, Guardian Pest Control. I can't remember a couple one. What would be really funny to have. I remember I had like the little things I was jotting out and like drawing logos. Anyway, I worked as like a traffic cop at BYU, and I was like in the. What would you call that? The little booth that had the arm that comes down, like restricting parking. So needless to say, I had a lot of time on my hands. It wasn't too technical of a job, other than slamming that thing down on somebody who. Anyway, I remember doing that. I think it would be cool if I had those little original drawings. Kind of cool. Anyway, we decided on Barrier Pest Control.
We had some a while ago. I thought that was.
I actually vividly remember
you want to know
stuff down.
Anakin thinks that she's the one that wrote the.
She did come up with the logo.
She did. Okay.
I know she came up with the logo.
Yeah.
You gotta remember to turn your phone off on these things.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I did the same thing.
Dentist appointment in the morning.
She decided, she did it. She came up with the logo or the variation of the logo anyway.
Yes, okay.
Anyway, so that was cool.
Where credit is due.
Anakin came up with the logo. Anyway, we're excited. I remember I sent I didn't have, I was making minimum wage or whatever. And I remember sending the $25 for the sole proprietorship with the state of Idaho. I remember it was painful.
Oh,
but I was super excited about it.
The days when that just broke you, yeah.
Okay, so whatever. I finished the semester. I moved in with Mike at a duplex in Nampa. Yeah. It was a two or three bedroom duplex or whatever. And we started. I remember actually I showed up and then we went and took the test to be able to be licensed applicators. That was the first thing we did. I I remember that.
Yeah.
Payette or something like that. It's Payette.
Right. Yeah, that's right. That's 100% right.
Anyway, remember studying or whatever and showing up at that next morning, just being so jacked, so excited about stuff.
Yeah.
So
we started out in the apartment with the little brown truck.
Yeah.
The brown.
Yo, do you have any memory? I know we borrowed obviously on a credit card. So Mike had you had a F-150, a brown like 1991,
92,
92,
91, yeah.
brown.
Really
Ford,
brown, really
really
brown.
brown.
Stick shift, yeah. I liked that. I liked it.
No, it was a good truck, but it wasn't what you
It smelled
call.
like smoke inside. Smelled a lot like smoke inside.
I don't remember that. It was like a four-wheel.
Oh, I
remember.
remember.
Like a four-wheel drive. It was a good rig.
I loved that thing.
You wouldn't call it aesthetically pleasing in any sort of a way.
No,
It was kind of a junk. We were glad to have it. I don't know what we would have done
I still
without
have that logo. I put it up on my garage.
Really?
The sticker part.
I do remember
Peeled it
taking
off.
it off. You still have that? That's kind of cool. Actually, could you take a picture of it?
Maybe.
Anyway, you know what that truck always kind of reminded me of? Do you remember that Garth Brooks song that was, I don't even know what it is. My high school colors are brown. Do you know what I'm talking about? And I remember as a kid when I'd hear those lyrics, it super depressed me. It was super depressed. He's talking about his hometown, how bad it sucked. But anyway, when I saw that brown truck, it always made me think of those lyrics of my high school colors. Like the most drab, disgusting, like depressing thing that you could think of. Anyway. So we borrowed whatever $3,500 to be able to put it on to put a spray rig in.
Yeah.
A spray rig in. Anyway, we got after it. We just started knocking doors and doing it that way. It was tough.
Yeah.
Didn't have any money.
No money, and
you had sold your house in Pocatello.
Yeah.
So you had a little bit of jingle jangle in the pocket. I had an IRA that I started just before I went on my mission. I had like $4,000 or $5,000 in it.
Yeah.
I know, but hey man, it's the way it goes. It's the way it goes.
Some of those things fill you with shame a little bit.
I took out, so I didn't have any interest, so I could take out basically all of the principal at a tax problem or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I could take out what I had originally invested in it or whatever. Anyway, so we got after it. I have a funny memory of, and we've talked about this before. Well, two things, and then I'll throw it over to you a little bit. But one of the things that I remember was the most exciting things after we get done working. We were like out selling or doing whatever we had to do. We'd sit there on the couches, and Ashley and Anakin had gone to bed, and we'd sit there and we were talking about, okay, so how we were running numbers. Do you remember that? Like if we get a couple hundred this year, you know what I'm saying? Here's what our numbers will look like. Here's what our income will look like. You know what I mean? Like it was exciting. Like I remember staying up like it's like being little kids planning your universe. You know what I'm saying? And like that. And that's what I was saying earlier. Like if you don't, when you're naive or ignorant, whichever one you want to call it, that alone counts for something, man. Just like pure, full-on optimism.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not based in anything. We hadn't done anything at that point. You know what I mean? I mean, you had done some things because you're older than me. You'd sold real estate. You'd done some things, but I never really had a real thing going on. But anyway, I remember that was really exciting. The first thing is that my memory was that we didn't have enough money to set up a business checking account.
That one.
So you had to have like something like $300.
Yep, I remember.
To have a business checking account. It was like U.S. Bank or Zions Bank or something like that.
So it took us like a week or two. It took us like 2 weeks to get raised.
It was like 2 weeks to
start. So we got the checks. We held on to them.
Well, see, I think it's funny. I remember a customer called and we're like, "Are you guys gonna deposit that?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, we're just
sorry, we're slammed. We got so much money coming in.
Yeah, it's more
you're
like
just a number. To
I can't actually legally deposit that money." Well, it's exciting, anyways.
Yep, on nothing. Oh, I remember that. That was like, sheer worry at that point.
Oh,
it should have been an indication that this was going to be a slow growth.
Well, that's what I'm saying is that
yeah, even with that, you pushed forward. You ignore the little.
No, it's scary business. I remember. Yeah, it was rough news, man. And that wasn't just like that first year was rough news. I mean, it's rough news. I mean, you start a business, everybody's like, what kind of bothers me even now? People are like, it used to bother me for different reasons when we first started, but now it bothers me for other reasons. When people are like, "Oh, you own your own business?" Like, So you can, like, do whatever.
Huh.
You know what I mean?
Oh
you
yeah,
can do whatever you
can
want.
do whatever you want.
Like, you're not worrying. You're like, yeah, here's the deal. At the first bit, you don't have any money.
So you can't do whatever you want.
You can't do
so you can sit at home.
anything, and then you look at your utility bills and wonder what you're gonna. And now you're like, no, like I have, like a lot of bosses. You know what I mean? It just changes.
Yeah.
I don't know why it shouldn't.
It never
bother me.
changed.
It's not like
There's a
people are
point in there in the middle, or at the beginning, where you kind of were doing well, and so you could, it was just you doing most of the labor.
Oh yeah.
You could do some stuff, but when you left, you never felt right. Yeah, you couldn't.
But I still have the remnants of that, don't you? Maybe you don't have it as much as I do.
Oh, big time. But
it takes me like a couple of days.
If you go on vacation.
Like if I go, well, not even vacation, like we go to see Ashley's parents or something, like it's like by the time we're leaving, I start saying I haven't thought about work in,
yeah,
all day or something like that. Anyway,
if it's over a weekend.
I have some memories here. So do you remember that flyer prank that you did? No.
Yes, I do.
Okay, so we cooked up these flyers, which were incidentally like never in the history of Barrier did we have flyers that were so successful.
We have
we
those.
do have one.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we cooked up these flyers. Again, these are the things that confuse me. Like, I don't know how we paid for flyers. I have zero memory on a credit card or something.
Yeah, probably.
Who would have lent us money on a credit card?
Yeah.
It doesn't even make any sense.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we built these flyers or made these flyers, and like we put them out, and we're like, oh yeah, we're gonna get calls. Not only we're gonna get them, you know what I'm saying? And then you prank called.
First of all, we had more. We did. We came back, and there was some.
Yeah, but it was a cruel thing. It was like playing on my hopes and dreams, man. Anyway, you called the next day, called the thing, and were like, yeah, I just wanted to get some prices or something.
Yeah, because we had an answering machine.
Yeah.
We had an answering
Yeah.
We had an answering. We went back into the back bedroom, right? Listening to him, and I made a goofy thing. Hey, I'm really interested in you. Got your flyer.
Well, I was like, man.
But
I was like, I quit college. You know what I mean? Playing on the thing that you want most to happen.
Yeah,
it is.
That bothers me a little bit.
Really?
Yeah, it bothers me because
you did that.
I'm not sure. I just
It's not your proudest moment.
You pointed out to me later that it's maybe this was another prank down the road or something like that. That you don't want to take a serious call and then think somebody's making. Making a joke.
But I don't think we would have had that problem because it's like everything was deadly serious,
Right, but no, I'm just more like there's a desperation there that you don't.
Yeah, that's forgivable.
Toying with the feelings of. I remember. I really thought that was funny though at the time. I thought that was hilarious.
You did think that was really funny
because I really hooked you in. And you were excited and
It was mean. It was mean.
I remember. But let's just face it. I first customer. Do you remember?
I do remember. You don't name anybody. I don't know if we can name anybody here. It's in the islands.
Okay.
Are you
write a name down? I'm actually serious. I want to know what your.
Well, it's.
I want to know.
Well, we did the one-time deal first for the kid who was related to this guy.
Oh,
we did a one-time deal.
Was that the actual one-time?
That was the one-time deal, and it was V. Yeah, that's the one. That was the actual
first customer.
Yeah.
We should tell her that.
I think.
Is she still a customer? You'd never.
I can't say. I was about to say one of those. You know what I mean? I think she was a customer.
Oh my gosh!
It was in the islands.
If she's still a customer, that'd be amazing.
This was the first person who paid us money.
Oh, okay.
Anyway.
Yeah.
But this was the first. That was a one-time deal, but this was the first one we did.
So the flyers were $50, and we had one run of 50 and one run of 60.
Yeah, and they did. So we ended up being at 50 and 60. We still have, just so you know, like there's a fair amount of folks that are still on that same program.
Really?
So it's like 13 years later.
Yeah.
We sold a different program or whatever back in the day. Seasonal pest control. Yeah. So I have kind of some funny ones here. Speaking of desperation, this kind of I'll set the stage a little bit. I always thought it was fun. So there's 7 boys in our family, 8 total kids, 1 sister. Our older brothers, Brian and Dan, they had a lawn care company in Pocatello. Lawn care, like mowing, maintenance, or whatever it is. Anyways, I don't even know how much of this story is true, and it almost doesn't make any difference to me because this, whatever, the myth has created this more powerful to me than anything else. I make fun of him, but I also super respect him for this, okay? But they took out, so that first year, okay, they, didn't have any money, whatever it is, they took out a paper ad that was like general, under the general labor. Do you know what I'm talking? I still tell Brian this, and he goes out of his mind, he's laughing so hard. Anyways, so they took out an ad in the general labor thing saying, and again, I don't know if this is true or not, but in my mind, this is how they kind of explained it to me. It was like, need help moving or going from one place to another, need help moving, we're your guys or what, and then it goes, or for anything else that you need. You know what I mean? It was like, we'll like move stuff, but then we'll do anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We'll do
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know why it makes me laugh, but that captures exactly what you feel when you first start. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we were doing some stuff. I mean, we had done work like that. It's not like we, grew up on a farm. We'd done stuff. You do a little bit of everything on a farm. But we were like trimming trees and stuff like that first winter. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do.
Trimming fruit trees. Applying dormant oil. And
Dormant
stuff
oil,
like that.
yeah.
And that was a big deal. Like, we were excited about that because it was like we could extend our, whatever you call it, marketing season.
Yeah.
Make an extra $150 or something.
Man.
But anyway, that was a big deal. But
yeah.
I'm saying, looking back, it's easy to say, but I think those are good memories. Well, it's good for when our kids to hear those stories.
Yeah.
Because you realize those are like founding stories that say, look, man, you got to do whatever it takes to do what you got to do to get it done. Anyway, that was that story. And then we have a really good friend. I don't want to really name him. I kind of been going to embarrass him, just like I embarrassed Dan and Bri. But this kind of also captures the same sort of desperation. But our friend that did the mowing for Barrier, we subcontracted mowing out to him for a long time. Still my best friend. I grew up with him. Know his family. I went to a family event with him. This is like a brother to me, and a Mike. But anyway, he went to go mow somebody's lawn. And the guy had a new mower, and he really wanted it to be tried out, and he forced my friend to mow his lawn with the guy's mower. And to this day, it really bothers him. You know what I mean?
That he said yes.
That he said yes to that.
Yeah.
But see, I was talking to him the other day, and I was telling him, no, man, you got to tell your kids that, or that needs to be a story you tell your kids, because that's some badge of honor for me. You know what I'm saying? It's like it brings you shame. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if he can probably properly explain why it brings him shame, but that's a war story, man.
Well, I think so.
You know what I'm saying?
A lot of times, it's funny. I look on certain memories and I go, I'm just utterly embarrassed at your inexperience and stupidity and desperation. But and I think you're right. You should look back like it's a positive thing. A stripe you earned,
But
there's you learned something. It might have been expensive, or you might have just looked
or done something stupid or looked stupid or whatever.
Yeah.
But those are war stories.
Funny thing is, nothing's coming to mind right now. But I've got
I don't remember the trimming the trees is what I remember. I remember just you kind of because it was I graduated I didn't graduate. I finished school in April, and then so that very same year, in the wintertime, December or whatever it is. I'm sitting there trimming somebody's trees, and you just say it's just such a weird thing.
Yeah.
Such a weird. I set out to do a pest control business. Here I am. You know what I mean? You're just doing whatever.
Yeah, I know.
Doing whatever.
And
you
many
do.
times you're like, "What the heck am I doing?"
That's what I mean.
You
what
get
am
into
I
that
doing
situation.
here?
You're like, big mistake, but that excitement still carries on, and you believe in the next year, and you believe in the next year.
Yeah.
And to the point where you really believe. There's proof.
Well, but then you also realize you can do it.
Yeah.
At one point in there, you say, I've gotten through enough tight spots, scrapes, whatever you want to call it, that you figure that, hey man, it was rough last year we got through. We're going to get it through this year. You know what I mean? So No, those are good. Those are good memories. For
Yeah.
me. Ashley wanted to make sure I remember. Do you remember this guy? His name was Bob. Here's his name. You know who I'm talking about?
Yeah.
He was one of the original Barrier customers. Really sweet guy. Ashley actually sold door to door with us for a time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't remember what it was. Anyway, he always, for years, this is kind of more like fond memories of customers who treated us nicely, in spite of our ignorance, I suppose, and inexperience, and stuff like that. Anyway, this guy in Nampa was just really, every time we'd go and do the service, he'd ask about my wife. He's like, how's that blonde girl doing? Have any kids or whatever? Do you remember what he had in his garage?
Yeah, I remember the trains. I do.
He had like a 3-car garage.
And it was full.
The whole thing was like an awesome train
awesome
station, like mountains, and like it was sweet. Anyway, it was cool. He was a nice guy. I have like really fond memories of him. I think he is passed.
No longer with us.
But you know, I told him one time, just so you know, like later, because we were doing sprinkler blowouts. We did sprinkler, so anyway, he was in poor health, and I remember we did a sprinkler blowout for him one time. I told him how much that meant to us, so I'm glad that I got to express that to him.
Yeah.
Because for whatever reason, he always stuck out, and he was just really super kind to us.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, I got a couple of throw down on you.
Okay. Hit me.
These are embarrassing. If you don't want to talk about them, you just skip over them. Do you remember the Franco flip? Do you have any memory of it? Is it too embarrassing for you to do it?
No, not at all. Just hose dragging.
I don't know if people would even understand that.
Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah,
I don't even think people get it.
We thought we were super cool.
No,
because we had serviced one across the street.
Okay, yeah, that's what it was.
And
so we had again, when you're new and you have like multiple people in the neighborhood, you like start saying, "Man, we're like getting to be a thing," you know.
Yeah.
You don't have isolated customers, you know what I mean, all over the place. So we had 2 customers that were right across the street from each other.
Yeah.
And doesn't make any difference. It was a funny. The reason why I brought this up is it's funny that you come up with those games or whatever it is just to kind of like to keep you motivated, just to have a good time while you're doing it. You know? Anyway, it was fun. Anyway, we used the hose to go on one side of the street, and then we just brought the hose right over. We called it the Bronco flip. It was pretty awesome.
And people drove over it or something like that?
Yeah, it's not that cool of a story. It's just kind of funny to me.
Yeah.
That stuck with me or whatever.
Yeah, really. That's funny.
Do you have a memory about Pakaka Street? Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm. I do. Palace Street.
So
right over by our old office.
Ashley also served, and Anakin served as they were in the office, whatever, you know, AKA the duplex, the living room where you were, whenever it was. Anyway, there was a contract that Mike had written up, that you had written up, and it was poorly written for Palace Street or whatever it is. Actually, I don't really know the particular story.
Palace Street, 100%.
And you were calling or something.
I'm sure I did some.
But you were calling to get directions or something?
Oh.
Is that what it is? Anyway, you're like irate because you couldn't. Where is Pakaka Street? Anyway, it was Palace Street. It was just poorly written. Again, funny stories to me.
Yeah.
Not that it's not that funny for most folks. Anyway, at one point we moved to an office. We moved out of our house and we moved into a place on Middleton Road. And what are your memories of that place?
We were using the office in a shared office space over there.
Yeah.
That's what we hadn't.
I forgot about that.
I'm not exactly sure.
We were there for like 6 months, and then we transferred over to.
Yeah, he had a little shop that was pretty rough, pretty dirty. You know what I'm saying? Like we had that, just how dirty that, little office was, and probably never saw a vacuum. Probably I remember
Are you talking about the office or
the
shop
office, and then the shop? With no heat in that shop, and it was just freezing, and
it was brutal.
And there was the toilet was out there.
That's why I had that written down. We're gonna talk about that.
Just
it was like frozen.
It was frozen. It's like
frozen in the wintertime.
Yeah.
It's like, what you do with this? My funny memory about that old office is we bought like a range. Like, you know what I'm talking about, like a portable range, like a cook stove.
Oh yeah, we boiled something.
Boil and like making for lunch or whatever because we didn't want to spend any money on like going to McDonald's to get a burger. Anyway, we got that and we like brought chili cans in. We were making chili for lunch and stuff like that.
Chili and mac and cheese.
It was that's right.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just remember.
And then we
funny.
got a grilled cheese sandwich
like a panini maker thing.
No, it was a grilled cheese maker. We cut it in half, and I thought that was.
Do you have good memories of that, or? Is
I
it
do.
like
Yeah,
that one for some reason I associate with more of a painful memory.
Yeah, they're all. It depends on how you look at it because they're all. To me, they're kind of like. I'm just. Here's how I look at it, right or wrong, okay? And you tell me what you think. If I would have. I can't even. I'm trying to think if I could say this without being too sad. Like, if you realize how. It sounds like I'm gonna say, but I mean, you wouldn't go through that again if you had.
No.
You wouldn't. If I could go through it again,
that.
I mean, I wouldn't change a thing, as they say. I mean.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
But at the time, if I had to know I was going to be going through this for a long time,
you'd take a punch in the face. I'll tell you that right now.
And so, I don't know why. I think I've got to maybe, go see a therapist and try to rewrite some of these memories.
No. It's actually good to talk about. I think it's fun to talk. When I was writing these down, I thought it was funny. I had a good time talking about it. But
it's interesting. Like, it's like you. I don't know. It's such a strange thing. You know what I mean? Like that you're in that situation, and you are just barely getting by, and you just.
Yeah, well, that's what I was telling JT. It's easy for me to say to him.
Yeah.
That you have to.
Oh, we did plenty of times.
It's a war story. It's an honor thing.
Use somebody's mower or some kind of thing.
No, I know, but you have. It's easy. It's hard to rewrite your own thing, your own memory.
Customer sniffs desperation. Customer's like,
I can work this.
Whatever this guy. You know what? How about this?
Do you know that
the way I want?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you know?
You work for me.
Do you remember? We used to joke about this. Maybe it's been too long that we haven't joked about this. Do you remember? Have you seen the movie? I don't know, The Benchwarmers. Do you remember that movie?
Yeah.
You know, the character David Spade has a really good-looking girl that comes in there to his video store or whatever it is, and he's like, "There's pretty much, you can anything in the store is free." Anyway, it makes me think of when you were selling. Sometimes it's funny in that desperation that you'll give more concessions than is good for you because you want somebody to say yes so bad to your business. You know what I'm saying? So in the end, you may end up.
I'm very guilty of that all the time. Yeah.
Well, because you still feel that desperation.
I'm not gonna lie. I feel it. It's like.
It's so like in the end, you're like, I'll pay you $20 if you let me. If you let me do this, I'll give you a 20 spot right now.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's funny to me. I do still do that. In fact, I kind of. Even though you can let that desperation push you too far, you know what I'm saying? It's a frustrating thing to my error when other people around don't feel that same way, even though it's not a good thing. It's pushed beyond the bounds of, you know what I mean? You start saying, well, I want that so bad, I want that business. It's hard to get that business,
Yeah.
It's hard, and then you start realizing, well, there's certain things you just have to say no to,
Yeah.
Anyway, it's kind of interesting. Do you remember going to $5 pizza every day? Little Caesars Pizza.
It feels like a recent memory to me.
Well, yeah, I still can't do it. I still can't do that very much. So we'd go like at Kmart. They had the thick crust. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah.
Anyway, that was like a big deal. Like as if it was jumped from $5 to $7.
Oh, now I know.
And you felt like you were some fine dining.
Yeah, man. When you eat your pizza, you put your pinky out.
You eat it in small bites.
Yeah.
And that was a fine memory. Always would do that.
Yeah, no, that's more of a recent memory for me.
Yeah. Well,
still like those. I'm not gonna lie.
I can't do it. I just can't do it. Like if we're gonna go out and get pizza, and Ashley's like, "Well, why don't I just get like some $5 pizzas for everybody?" I'm like, "No, get a $5 pizza for the kids. I'm gonna get a pizza. That's pizza. I ain't gonna do that, man.
Yeah,
I can't eat that crap anymore."
Yeah.
Well, do you have any closing thoughts?
No. I still feel that excitement that I felt years ago, and it might still be naive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I'm still excited. You know what I'm saying? And I can't remember the moment when a shift started coming slowly, where I started realizing that all the ridiculous hard work that we did, you know, it just started paying off, you know, and it took years. So for me, I'm feeling more as excited as I was, you know, because we're turning over new rocks and getting, you know, making changes at an unbelievable pace. So for me, I'm feeling just as excited as I was.
I'm a little bit more. I don't know what you'd say. I guess when you have a little bit of knowledge, you're a little bit more whatever cynical about the whole deal. But I definitely have. I'll say this. In recent years, I've captured a little bit more of the early vision, where you remember why you did it in the first place. You know how cool it is, dude. Like, we're brothers. You have your own business, and you hang out all the time. Like, that's not too many people get to do that sort of thing. So you have to be. For me, because I tend on the morose side of life, anyways. I have to you have to think about, this is really cool. Like, you get to work with your brother, and you get to do that all the time. And that's a cool thing, and build something that matters. That's a cool thing. So those are my closing thoughts. So, anything else you'd like to add? So, again, thanks for tuning in. I hope they found that fun or whatever it is. I had a good time doing it anyway. So, again, I'm Mike. This is Kirk for Barrier Pest Control. Make sure to subscribe. This is going to be something we're going to be doing more often. We're excited to do it. We hope to make it fun and interesting, and probably we're going to do it on a regular basis. So, make sure to subscribe. Make sure to like us on Facebook, and we appreciate you stopping in. Thanks.